the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jake Johnson, and you're watching the Deep End Untethered Live. This is Sunday night Bible study. That means Old Testament tonight. And boy, have we got some book to get into in the book of Judges, 1910, I believe it is. We got a lot to cover tonight, and let's see if we can't get through the book of Judges and see what happens. Who's with us so far? Anybody? Oh, there's somebody here. Hey, Caucasian, what's happening? The Caucasian Sasquatch, he's cooking, he said, BRB. Words wiser never spoken. BRB. Is that like a BBQ? Or a BDSM? Or a BDB, TPT, PCP, JTK? I just got back from the road. I did a show in New Bern, North Carolina tonight. Played with a Motown funk band. Yes, I know I don't look Motowny or funky in the slightest, but I do it occasionally. And tonight was one of those nights. And we got through it. It was good. Wasn't a large crowd, but they were excitable. And what can you expect when the whole world is shut down? Welcome to year 2 of 14 days to flatten the curve. I'm saying something went wrong somewhere. Other than that, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. Let me send out a text. I think we're missing some people. I don't know that I can send out a text. Let's see. We'll find out, won't we? Go away. I'm texting. Nope, I don't think I can. Oh, well. It doesn't matter. They'll show up when they show up. And if they don't, I'll just read to myself. That's fine. We had a pretty good weekend last weekend. Pretty busy. Pretty exciting stuff happened. Can't win them all. Let's see if we can get the Diego to show up. He's around here somewhere. And the Caucasian Sasquatch, he's cooking. Cooking with gas. I think I hear a leak. It was a pretty good show. I drove down there this afternoon. Set up. If I hadn't been there, though, it would have been bad because they didn't have anything. I had to provide just about everything. Oh, you're making oyster stew? That can be good if you do it right. I like jack mackerel stew better, but oysters are good. Anyway, had a young black girl singing with us. And we played some Michael Jackson and, you know, that sort of thing. Funky Motown type stuff. Smokey Robinson, The Temptations, You know, that kind of music. Ma Dean's recipe. Well, I don't really remember her cooking all that much. Most thing I remember about her is me and her sitting out on that swing for hours and hours and hours talking about all manner of things. She was a great conversationalist, your mom. That's what I remember the most. I don't really remember her cooking, though. I'm sure she did, and I'm sure I ate some of it. I just don't remember it. Kind of hard to remember other people's cooking when you have a granny. You know what I mean? But I'm sure it was wonderful. I think Granny probably overshadowed everybody in the cooking department. No, she overshadowed my mom, and my mom was a good cook, but she wasn't no Granny. Woman in a wheelchair do more than I've ever seen most people with legs do. Power, power. Anyway, I'd like to have some of that oyster stew. I wish I could come down there and eat some of it, would you? I bet it's delicious. I ate some pork chops. I stopped at a little Indian store and got me a plate of pork chops and tater logs and loaf bread. That's what I had. And it looked like it had ketchup on the pork chops. It wasn't ketchup, though. It was some kind of sauce they made, but it looked like ketchup. And at first I thought it was going to be a miserable thing to eat. But the more I ate it, the more I liked it. It had a little spice to it. It was pretty good. Must be an Indian thing. Little tough pork chops, though. They weren't very tender, but they were tasty. And I got them down. And I got a pint of ice cream to eat later. Cookie dough. Reward for a show well played. They were all impressed because I've never played with them before. And I've never even heard them play before. I just kind of jumped in and did my thing, and it worked. And they were all like, well, I'm glad you prepared. And I'm like, all right. There ain't no preparing. I just fly by the seat of my pants. That's how I roll. Somebody sent a text to April and Kev. Where the heck are they at tonight? They're usually first one in. They must be getting tired of me. They've been kind of slacking off lately. Don't get tired of me. I got a long way to go. What else are you having with your oyster stew? Just oyster stew? Are you getting those little oyster crackers, the little octagon shaped crackers? Or just saltines? Those little octagon shaped crackers are awesome with that kind of thing. Oyster stew and jack mackerel stew and clam chowder and anything else you want to put them in. Chicken noodle soup. Zeta saltines. I hear you. Next time you get a chance, though, buy them little octagon-shaped oyster crackers because they don't get soggy as easily. They stay crunchy, and they're the perfect size, and they got a little air in them, so they're a little poofy. Perfect crunch. Hey, there's a Kev. He did make it. And April. Congratulations. I was just talking about y'all. I said y'all must be getting tired of me. Slacking off. Glad you could make it. How is the weather down there in that big FLA? I hope it's better than it is here. It's kind of soggy today. I'm not tired of you, Jake. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not tired of you either. I am kind of sick of me, though. Nah. I went down and helped a friend of mine out today and played in a little funk band. Filled in a spot for a guy that didn't show up, I think. It was interesting. I don't get to play that kind of music that often, but it was interesting. Little funk, little Motown, little Michael Jackson. You know that kind of thing. Some James Brown, whatever. Some Ike and Tina Turner. Hit me again, Ike. Put some stank on it this time. It was delicious. I was the only white person there. I felt right at home. Anyway, I managed to get back about 30 minutes before the podcast. Threw on my shirt, combed my hair, and jumped in the hot seat, ready to go. Here we are, ready to tackle the end of Judges. So if you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to chapter 19, verse 10. That's where we're going to start, in Judges, the great book of Judges. That fantastic book. How's the weather there in Florida? I did ask that, but nobody answered me. It's been kind of soggy here today. Not really rainy, just wet, like it had rained. Seems like it had rained all day long. Everything's just kind of wet and overcast, misty. No real rainfall, though. I'm tired. Been running all day, playing in the hot sun. April says, "Hey, Sasquatch." I think she's after you, stew. Super juicy here, rained 3 times today. Yeah, today it seemed like it always had just rained, but it never actually did rain. It just was soggy like it had just rained. If that makes any sense. If it rained, I missed it. But it's been wet and splashy. Streets are all soaked. Fresh rain. Chubby rain. All right, all right, all right. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to show up, and I'll get started. I got some video of the show, so I'll put some of that up later this week when I get it all downloaded and edited. Let y'all see a little of that maybe on Wednesday. And I got some more pictures from April that I'm going to put into a montage, a Ken Burns style montage, put some music to it. I'll show you that on Wednesday. If I seem to be a little out of it, it's because I'm exhausted. I've been going all day. And I did a show, and that really takes it out of you. But I'll get into it as soon as I start reading, I'm sure. A little breath mint to get me going. Sasquatch, you gonna make some biscuits with that stew or not? Oh, that probably wouldn't go well with it, though, would it? That's probably the wrong thing to make biscuits with. Anyway, biscuits is always a good idea. All right, folks, where y'all at? Pile in, pile up, let's go. We got some learning to do. Nah, it's a single unit meal. It's all in one, it's all together. Just put some hot sauce on it and go for it. I'll let you know tomorrow if it's a good idea for me to eat them pork chops or not. Gas station pork chops. Might not have been smart. We'll see. Got somebody who has never seen Remo Williams. Really? Who's that? Remo Williams, is that the comedian with the mop hair, or is that the action star? I get them confused, the name. Remo Williams, was that the guy that was in VHS as the carpenter that kept cutting his finger off? Or is that the action star, that Bronson-esque action star? I've seen it before, I just can't remember who the name belongs to. American Ninja, yes, the Bronson-esque action star, I remember now. Yep, I've seen it. It's been a long time ago. 80s action movie, yes, I remember. Remo Williams lived down a dirt road, made homemade wine with nobody I know. Stopped by one Friday night, said, "Can you help me, Remo?" I think that's the wrong guy. Works though, I'm sticking with it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8:20. It's time to get started. Let's see who's here. Hello, everybody who's here. April, Kev, where'd you go? The adventure begins. Can I have a Bible, please? Thank you. Where we stopped last time, a certain Levite man with his concubine had went into a town, and then she left and went home to her father-in-law, and then he followed after her, and when he got there, the father-in-law would not let him leave. Every time he tried to leave with his woman, the father-in-law would come up with some kind of excuse or make dinner or invite him to go get drunk with him, one thing after another. And he stayed there for a solid week trying to get away from the guy. So now he's up and ready to go, and he's not going to let the guy stop him anymore. Okay, roll on one. One. Here we go. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed and came over against Jebus, which is Jerusalem. And there were with him 2 asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. And they were by Jebus. And the day was far spent. It was late into the evening. And the servant said unto his master, "Come, I pray thee, and let us turn into this city of the Jebusites," that's where they came from, "and lodge in it." And his master said unto him, "We will not turn aside hither into the city of a stranger that is not of the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah." And he said unto his servant, "Come, and let us draw near to one of these places to lodge all night, in Gibeah or in Ramah. And they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them when they were by Geba, which belongeth to Benjamin. Benjamin is the tribe that set up in Gibeah, among other places. Pretty big tribe. And they turned aside thither to go in to lodge in Gibeah. And when he went in, he sat down in a street of the city, for there was no man that took them into his house to lodging. So in other words, they couldn't find a place to sleep, so he just sat down in the middle of the street. Ain't it funny when you go into a place where you think you're welcome and nobody's there to welcome you? Kind of makes you feel weird. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even, and at the end of the day, which was also of Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah. But the men of the place were Benjamites. So I'm guessing this city was kind of like a border town where many people come from all around to work and do whatever. But there's a local tribe there, and that's the Benjamites. But there's other people all around from other places. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the street of the city. The old man said, Whither goest thou? Where are you going, old timer? And whence comest thou? Where are you going, and where are you coming from? And he said unto him, We are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, towards the side of Mount Ephraim. From thence am I. That's where I'm from. And I went to Bethlehem, Judah, but I am now going to the house of the Lord. And there is no man that receiveth me to house. I can't find a place to sleep. Nobody's going to rent me a room. Yet there is both straw and provender for our asses. In other words, we got plenty to eat, so we'll just sleep here in the streets. And there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man which is with thy servants. There is no want of anything. We may not have a place to sleep, but we got everything we need. And the old man said, Peace be with thee. Whosoever, let all thy wants lie upon me. Only lodge not in the street. Hey, Diego, good to see you, my friend. So he brought him into his house, and gave provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet, and did eat and drink. Now, as they were making their hearts merry, getting drunk, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about. They surrounded the place, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. That's the biblical know. They want to rape him. That's not a good place to be. And this is kind of reminiscent, if you don't know, of Lot, and when he had the two angels come into his house, and he had brought them in the city of Gomorrah, and the town folk did the very same thing to them. So this is kind of reminiscent of that story. It's amazing what people have to get up to in the wee hours of the morning when they ain't got nothing else to do. They go beating on the house looking for somebody to rape, pillage, and plunder, and maim, and put big hickeys on all the fair damsels. And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them, and said unto them, Nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly. Seeing that this man is come into mine house, do not this folly. Don't interrupt my guest. He's a guest in my house. Don't think about doing bad things to him. He'll be gone in the morning. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Them I will bring out now, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. Now, this is kind of a tricky situation, because these men have it in their hearts to do some bad stuff, and they're not easily appeased. So this man, wise in his demeanor, has decided to offer them a bypass. Here, take these women and do with them as you please and leave the man alone. This is the exact same thing that occurred in Gomorrah. One of the reasons God destroyed the place. He does not like this kind of behavior. But these people are children of Belial. That's a bad guy. That's a false deity. I know that most people would think that this is treating the women folk badly, and that the man is in the wrong for offering up his own daughter and the concubine. But when I tell you these men are going to have their way one way or the other, and that man knows it, this is actually a fix for the problem for the moment. It's not a smart thing to do, but it's what's necessary at the time. But the men would not hearken unto him. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth unto them. And they knew her. They had their way with her. And abused her all night until morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Poor lady. And when he was I must have missed something. Hang on. Yep. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her lord was, till it was light. And her lord rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, Up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then the man took her up upon an ass, and the man rose up and gat him unto his place. And when he was come into his house, he took a knife and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces, and sent her into all the coasts of Israel. In other words, she died of what they did to her. And so he's now sending a message to them, a message of vengeance. And it was so that all that saw it said, There was no such deed done nor seen from the day of that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider of it, take advice, and speak your minds. Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man, from Dan even to Beersheba, with the land of Gilead unto the Lord in Mizpah. Well, you know, when people act foolish, they're going to pay the price. And these people mistreated this woman in such a vile way that she died from it. And now they're going to have to pay the price for that. And don't make any mistake about it. God's not going to let that slide. Believe that. And the chief of all the people, even of all the tribes of Israel, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of God, 400,000 footmen that drew sword. Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone up to Mizpah. Then said the children of Israel, Tell us, how was this wickedness? How did this happen? And the Levite, the husband of the woman that was slain, answered and said, I came into Gibeah that belongeth to Benjamin, I and my concubine, to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose against me, and beset the house round about upon me by night, and thought to have slain me. And my concubine they forced, that she died, or that she is dead. And I took my concubine, and cut her in pieces, and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they have committed lewdness and folly in Israel. Behold, ye are all children of Israel. Give here your advice and counsel. Tell me what you think I ought to do, considering that these children of God have done such a horrid thing. And all the people arose as one man, saying, that's groupthink. They were all thinking the same way. We will not any of us go to his tent, neither will we any of us turn into his house. But now this shall be the thing which we will do to Gibeah. We will go up by lot against it, and we will take 10 men of 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000 of 10,000 to fetch victual for the people, that they may do when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the folly that they have wrought in Israel. So in other words, they're going to go in by teams and take whatever food and water they need in the land until they get to where they're going and root out the people responsible, and then they're going to do to them what they did to the concubine, basically screw them to death. It's going to be gruesome, but those men deserve it. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, knit together as one man. That's a well-oiled machine, one unit, all working together with one goal in mind. And the tribes of Israel sent men through all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, what wickedness is that? What wickedness is this that is done among you? Now therefore deliver us the men, the children of Belial, which are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death, and put away evil from Israel. But the children of Benjamin would not hearken to the voice of their brethren, the children of Israel. They might have them scared, but they're not willing to give up the bad guys. But the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the city unto Gibeah, to go out to battle against the children of Israel. And the children of Benjamin were numbered at that time out of the cities 26,000 men that drew sword, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. Among all the people there were 700 chosen men left-handed. Every one could sling stones at an hairbreadth and not miss. That means that they were deadly accurate. A hairbreadth, I'm assuming, is the same thing as saying you hit it right in the crosshairs. They were deadly accurate with those slings, and they didn't miss. And they were all left-handed, so that threw everybody they were fighting for a loop. And the men of Israel beside Benjamin were numbered 400,000 men that drew sword. All these were men of war. And the children of Israel arose and went up to the house of God and asked counsel of God and said, which of us shall go up first to the battle against the children of Benjamin? And the Lord said, Judah shall go up first. Judah is the lion, by the way. There's a reason they lead. And the children of Israel rose up in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin. And the men of Israel put themselves in array, that's in a line, against the Benjamites, to fight against them at Gibeah. They kind of spread out like that. And the children of Benjamin came forth out of Gibeah and destroyed down to the ground of the Israelites that day 22,000 men. Wow. And the people, the men of Israel, encouraged themselves and set their battle against in array, again spread out like so, in the place where they put themselves in array the first day. And the children of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until evening, and asked counsel of the Lord, saying, shall I go up again to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother? And the Lord said, go up against him. And the children of Israel came near against the children of Benjamin in the second day. Now, the first day, Benjamin won. They won that battle. They tore them down. That's why they were so upset that night and going to speak to God. Should we do it again? Are we doing the right thing here? And Benjamin went forth against them out of Gibeah and the second day, and destroyed down to the ground of the children of Israel 18,000 men. All these drew the sword. They're not having a good battle here. I wonder why. Then all the children of Israel and all the people went up and came into the house of God and wept and sat there before the Lord, and fasted that day until evening, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And the children of Israel inquired of the Lord, for the ark of the covenant of God was there in those days. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, stood before it in those days, saying, Shall I yet again go out to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother, or shall I cease? And the Lord said, Go up, for tomorrow I will deliver them into thine hands. And Israel set liers in wait round about Gibeah. And the children of Israel went up against the children of Benjamin on the third day, and put themselves in array once more against Gibeah as the other times. And the children of Benjamin went out against the people, and were drawn away from the city. And they began to smite of the people, and kill, as at other times, in the highways, of which one goeth up to the house of God, one of those highways, and the other to Gibeah in the field. About 30 men of Israel died that day. And the children of Benjamin said, They are smitten down before us, as at the first day. But the children of Israel said, Let us flee, and draw them from the city unto the highways. Smart move. Get them out in the open, and you can surround them. And all the men of Israel rose up out of their place, and put themselves in array at Baltamar. And the liers in wait of Israel came forth out of their places, even out of the meadows of Gibeah. And there came against Gibeah 10,000 chosen men out of all Israel. And the battle was sore. It was a bad battle. Lots of people died. But they knew not that evil was near them. And the Lord smote Benjamin before Israel. And the children of Israel destroyed of the Benjamites that day 25,000 and 100 men. All these drew the sword. So the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten. For the men of Israel gave place to the Benjamites, because they trusted unto their liers in wait, which they had set beside Gibeah. And the liers in wait hasted. They got up quickly and rushed upon Gibeah. And the liers in wait drew themselves along, and smote all the city with the edge of the sword. Now there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and the liers in wait, that they should make a great flame with smoke rise up out of the city. And when the men of Israel retired in the battle, Benjamin began to smite and kill of them, of the men of Israel, about 30 persons. For they said, Surely they are smitten down before us, as in the first battle. Oh, but they got another thing coming. But when the flame began to rise up out of the city with a pillar of smoke, the Benjamites looked behind them, and behold, the flame was of the city ascended up to heaven. They burnt the city to the ground. And when the men of Israel turned again, the men of Benjamin were amazed, for they saw that evil was come upon them. Therefore they turned their backs before the men of Israel unto the way of the wilderness. But the battle overtook them, and them which came out of the cities they destroyed in the midst of them. Thus they enclosed the Benjamites round about, they surrounded them, and chased them, and trode them down with ease over against Gibeah towards the sun rising. And there fell of Benjamin 18,000 men. All these were men of valor. And they turned and fled towards the wilderness unto the rock of Rimmon. And they gleaned of them in the highways 5,000 men, and pursued hard after them unto Gittim, and slew 2,000 men of them. So that all which fell that day of Benjamin were 25,000 men that drew the sword. All these were men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled into the wilderness, into the rock of Rimmon, and abode in the rock of Rimmon 4 months. And the men of Israel turned again upon the children of Benjamin, and smote them with the edge of the sword, as well the men of every city as the beast. And all that came to hand, also they set on fire all the cities that they came to. So, I mean, they meant business. They went out to conquer Benjamin, and conquer Benjamin they did, and several other cities along the way. The lesson here being, don't rape a concubine to death. It's not a good thing. Now the men of Israel had sworn in Mizpeh, saying, there shall not any of us give his daughter unto Benjamin to wife. And the people came to the house of God, and abode there till even before God, and lifted up their voices, and wept sore, and said, O Lord, God of Israel, why is this come to pass in Israel, that there should be today one tribe lacking in Israel? And it came to pass on the morrow that the people rose early, and built there an altar, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the children of Israel said, who is there among all the tribes of Israel that came not up with the congregation unto the Lord? For they had made a great oath concerning him that came not up to the Lord in Mizpeh, saying, he shall surely be put to death. And the children of Israel repented them for Benjamin their brother, and said, there is one tribe cut off from Israel this day. How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them of our daughters to wife? And they said, what one is there of the tribe of Israel that came not up to Mizpeh to the Lord? And behold, there came none to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. Jabesh Gilead. And I'm assuming that those are people from Gilead. For the people were numbered, and behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead there. So in other words, they didn't entail themselves into this fight. They didn't want to be part of it. And the congregation sent thither 12,000 men of the valiantest, and commanded them, saying, go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the women and the children. And this is the thing that ye shall do. Ye shall utterly destroy every male, every woman that hath lain by man. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins that had known no man by lying with any male. And they brought them up unto the camp of Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. Now somebody's about to have a field day, literally. And the whole congregation sent some to speak to the children of Benjamin that were in the rock of Rimmon, to call peaceably unto them. And Benjamin came again at that time, and they gave them wives, which they had saved alive from the women of Jabesh Gilead, and yet so they sufficed them not. And the people repented them for Benjamin, because that the Lord had made a breach in the tribes of Israel. I don't think that was the Lord's doing, but that's what they think, so there you go. Then the elders of the congregation said, How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, There must be an inheritance for them that be escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe be not destroyed out of Israel. Howbeit, we may not give them wives of our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn, saying, Cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. Then they said, Behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Shiloh yearly, in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south of Lebanah. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, Go and lie in wait in the vineyards, and see, and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. So getting a wife in those days was like picking fruit. You just had to catch one. And it shall be, when their fathers or their brethren came unto us to complain, that we will say unto them, Be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not to each man his wife in the war. For ye did not give unto them at this time, that ye should be guilty. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number, of them that danced, whom they caught. And they went and returned unto their inheritance, and prepared the cities, and dwelt in them. Shechem? I barely know them. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family. And they went out from thence, every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. That must have been quite a lawless time. And now we've reached the great book of Ruth. Let's see how far we can get into that before the 10 minutes is up. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled, that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi. And the name of his 2 sons was Mahlon and Chilion. Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. They're from the Euphrates River. Sorry, I'll see myself out. No, stay. And they came into the country of Moab, and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left, and her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah. You know, that's the lady with the television show that gives away cars. You get a car, and you get a car. Welcome to the Orpah show. And the name of the other was Ruth, and they dwelled there about 10 years. and Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them, and the women were left of her 2 sons and her husband. So now it's just the women folks. There she arose with her daughters-in-law, and she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited the people in giving them bread. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her. And they went on the way to return unto the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each to her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you, as ye have dealt with the dead, and with me, meaning their 2 husbands. May your mother be as kind to you as you were to my sons and me. And the Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. I don't want to go. Mama, no, I want to stay with you. And they said unto her, Surely we will return with thee unto thy people. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Why will ye go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb? Do I have any more kids? You don't need to go with me. You're free. Go, get away from me. That they may be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters. Go your way, for I am too old to have an husband. If I should say I have hope, if I should have an husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Yeah, that's just kind of weird. Would ye stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes, that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. And they lifted up their voices and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back to her people, and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, thy God my God. Where thou diest, will I die, and there will I be buried. And the Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. So what she's saying is, I don't want to go back to my people. I'm happy with you. Wherever you go, I'm going to go. If you live, I'll live. If you die, I'll die. And the only thing that's going to make me stop following you is if one of us dies. That's what she's saying. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. So they too went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass, when they were come to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them. And they said, Is this Naomi? And she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Mara. For the Almighty hath dealt very bitterly with me. She don't want no more of his name, I guess. I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty. Why call ye me Naomi, seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me? Now she's being a little bit of a whiny butt here. She did have a husband and 2 sons and 2 daughter-in-laws. It sounds to me like the Lord blessed her. Life happens. People live and die. Could it be their choices that caused them to die early? Could it be circumstance or the world around them at large? Who knows why they died early, but they died early, and now she's widowed. and orphaned, as it were, or whatever the opposite of orphaned is. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley season, barley harvest. They were getting ready to get it on with the beer, baby. Make some beer out of that barley. Hops. And Naomi had kinsmen of her husband's. Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. Boaz is a good dude. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, Let me now go to the field, and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, Go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and her hap was so light on a part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. So in other words, that's where she was picking from his field. She didn't get very much, but she got enough that he could say she was picking out of his field. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and said unto the reapers, The Lord be with you. And they answered him, The Lord bless thee. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, Whose damsel is this? Stop the press. Who is that? I see a young Hoodie amidst the reapers. Who might you be, young lady? That's what Boaz is thinking. And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, It is a Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came, and hath continued even from the morning until now, that she tarried a little in the house. And Boaz said unto Ruth, Hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. You ain't got to go anywhere, honey. You can stay right here with the rest of my girls. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch thee? And when thou art arthrist, go unto the vestals. That means athirst means thirsty, When thou art athirst, go unto the vessels and get you something to drink. Haven't I made it safe for you to be here by telling the young men not to touch you? And when you're thirsty, you can go get whatever you want to drink, and drink of that which the young men have drawn, fresh water. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground, and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? And Boaz answered her and said, Have you seen you? No, that's not what he said. It hath fully been showed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother, and the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knowest not heretofore. The Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. In other words, he's saying, because you have come into the house of the Lord willingly and knowingly, and went away from your own people and joined into our people, then we're going to take care of you, because God takes care of his own. And then she said, Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for that thou hast comforted me. and for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thine handmaid. Though I be not like unto one of thine handmaids, I'm not like them. And Boaz said unto her, At mealtime, come thou hither and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat, and was sufficed, and left. So she had her meal and went home. And when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. And let fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her. Give her some of the good stuff, and leave them, that she may glean them, and rebuke her not. Let some of the good corn fall, so that she can pick it up, and don't you say a word to her about it. Let her get what she needs. He's taking good care of this young Ruth. So she gleaned in the field until evening, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. That's a container, an ephah. And she took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth, and gave to her that she had reserved after she was sufficed. So in other words, even after she got her fill, she had plenty left over, and she gave it to her mother-in-law. And her mother-in-law said unto her, Where hast thou gleaned today? And where wroughtest thou? Where were you working at today? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she answered her mother-in-law, with whom she had wrought, and said, The man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be he of the Lord, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen, kind of like a great uncle or something like that. And Ruth the Moabitess said, He said unto me also, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men, until they have ended all my harvest. Boaz told me not to be fooling around with any of the young men until they got their work done. And Naomi said unto Ruth her daughter-in-law, It is good, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz, to glean unto the end of barley harvest, and of wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. And that's where we're going to stop for today, folks, in the book of Ruth, chapter 3, verse 1. That's where we're going to stop, and we'll pick up there next Sunday. Sunday. What an awesome book that was. I'm interested to know where this Ruth/Boaz is gonna relationship is gonna lead. It could be a great love story in the making. Hey, won't you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm gonna be here. Smash that like button. It's right in front of you, and it takes no effort, and it's absolutely free. Just touch it one time and we're done. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid, concede. Hey, concede yourself. As long as you're thinking, that's what I want from you. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. Use it or lose it. And if you love this ministry and you think we're doing a good job and you'd like to help us keep reaching more people and keep spreading the word of God, and you want to be part of something special, won't you take a moment, please, and go to paypal.me/JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing for me. It's a blessing for you, too. God notices these things. And thank you for your support. And with that, I will take any of your questions and comments. So, whoop-a-dow. Let's do it. Hey, fantastic, says Caucasian Sasquatch. I'm of the opinion oyster stew with extra sharp white cheddar is the mostest. Yeah, that sounds good. I don't know about cheese and stew. That might be a little weird, but hey, if you like it, I like it. Kevin, April, did y'all leave me? Where art thou? My analytics say there's only one person here, but I don't believe that for a second. If there's only one person here, somebody's not doing their job properly. That would be me. I know I'm tired, but damn, I got through it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson tonight. It was pretty interesting. A little bit lackluster, but we can't have great books in every single lesson. We'll get there. Any questions or comments on the book or in general, I'll do my best to answer. Even when you're talking about oyster stew, which sounds really good. Great read tonight, Jake, says April. Thank you, dear. I'm glad. I'm glad you liked it. You guys aren't very talkative lately. What's up? Are y'all just preoccupied, or are you mad at me, or what? What's going on here? I need to know, 'cause I depend on you. You give me stuff to talk about, and that's how I get through. So far, so good, though. It's been a long day. I'm looking forward to passing out. We just got back from the beach. I just got back from the beach, too, but for an entirely different reason. I've been listening, sorry. I hadn't talked much. My phone was also charging. I hear you. Life. I went down to the beach today to New Bern, North Carolina, because I had a show to do that was a favor for a friend of mine. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. I'm a sec, sorry. In a sec. I got you. I understood what you meant. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm grateful. How did it go? It was okay. It was a small crowd, but they were excitable. I mean, it wasn't like there was a lot of money involved or anything. It was just a thing. Trying to help a buddy out. They needed a player and somebody that knew what they were doing to run sound and all that stuff. So that was me. And when they called, I went. It turned out well. I mean, it's not really my kind of music, but I'm not really the Motown funk type, but I can get away with it. And I did enjoy playing with them, so that's something, always something. If you could imagine me playing Michael Jackson, or the Temptations, or Smokey Robinson, or who was the other person? John Legend. Yep, Motown. I was the only white guy there. Yep, it's good music. It's just not my thing, you know. But when I play freelance, I pretty much play whatever anybody pays me to play, so it don't have to be my thing. But my thing is like more rock and roll, conventional music with a slight country bend to it. But it was really hot and really soaky. The last 3 days have been among the hottest days of the year, so and we were outside in the sunlight. So that's the kind of night or kind of day it was. So when I say I'm tired, I'm really tired. That's hilarious. But hey, it's cool. You played. Wish I could have seen it. Well, you're going to see it. I got some video. I'll share it Wednesday. I just got to edit it and download it and all that stuff. I got some video, babe. You'll get to see me playing some Motown. I like music, says Caucasian Sasquatch. I like math. That's the power of science, people. Yep, I'm interested to see how this Ruth / Boaz relationship's going to work out. That's going to be an interesting love story. How about a bluegrass gin and juice? Sucking on gin and juice. With my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Oh, yeah, I've done it before. There's actually a bluegrass version of that out there somewhere. I've played it before, many years ago. April says she's got that video. With my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Picking that gin and juice. Yeehaw. By the Gorge. It's so funny. Yeah, it's a good song. I played it years ago, but I hadn't played it in a long time because it kind of fell out of favor there pretty quick. It was popular for like a year. Some of those songs don't last very long, but they're popular when they're on their air. Like that song, the new Billy Ray Cyrus song. That was popular for like a year, and then it kind of faded out. Can't think of the name of it right now. It's Billy Ray Cyrus and some rapper guy. I can sing it very well, says Caucasian Sasquatch. Have I seen the Big Daddy Rich videos? No, I have not. Like they pay my bar tab when I sing it. Hey, that's good. It's always good to get your bar tab paid. They usually pay my bar tab when I sing too. And it's kind of the deal. You give me money and I sing. Sucking on gin and juice. 99 Problems. Hugo. 99 Problems and all of them sound like a woman. You got that song stuck in my head now. I don't even know the words to it. It's even worse. The only words I can remember is my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Ugh. Been a long day. I'm looking forward to crashing out. I'm expecting my eyelids for holes. But I gotta get up early in the morning. That's basically it. Yeah, there ain't too much substance to it, is there? I think there's a little more than that, though, but not by much. Yeah, I gotta get up early and return my sister's van. I gotta unload. I got a whole van full of stuff I gotta unload, and then I gotta return her van to her in the morning, and then get to work. Well, go crash out, cousin. We love you, true. Well, I will, but I ain't leaving just yet. I'll make it to 9:30, but it's all gooder. I ain't leaving just yet. I ain't that damn tired. I'm just bitching. That's all. Just complaining. I don't have anybody to talk to, so I gotta talk to you. All in all, though, it was a pretty good day. Can't complain too much. How's Missy? She's good. I saw her yesterday. I went and picked her van up from her. Kind of hard to pull a whole band on the back of my motorcycle, so every now and then I gotta go get a vehicle. I have one. It's just in the shop, and it's been there for 3 months, and I don't know if he's ever gonna fix it or not. I had to wait and see. And but Missy's doing good. She's plugging right along, staying busy. Yeah, it's nice of her. It's a community vehicle. She looks the same. She's got a little bit different, but not by much. Good genetics, I guess. I pretty much look the same, too. Enough that somebody from my childhood could recognize me from the back. Squatch says, I'm so broke I put my last $4 in the tank. Jake says, I'm so broke I can't even afford to pay attention. I thought you was independently wealthy. How you broke? If you're broke, you're doing it wrong, buddy. Need to set you up a podcast and get you teaching the word according to Squatch. April says, I'm broke too. Well, till tomorrow or until I work for it. Yeah. 'Cause I get paid quarterly. Well, not completely. Got change. Well, I live from payday to payday. I ain't like y'all rich people. Got paid Saturday, but it won't clear till Tuesday. Damn, that sounds like a pain in the ass. April says, I know how you feel, Sasquatch. I once dated a girl that had millions of dollars. Only she couldn't touch any of it till she was 18. And she wasn't 18. I can't even change my mind, says Sasquatch. I'm not rich, says April. Yeah, maybe someday, but then everybody will be my best friend. Well, that's true. When you got money, you know who your friends are. I'll not be one of those people, though. You give what you want to give, and I'll not ask for a penny more. I say let the Lord lead you on that one. If he tells you to give, give. If he tells you not to, don't. I certainly won't be done to nobody. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I know all about those kind of people. I've had them in my life before. I don't like them. But if you got a little bit, you can bet your ass anybody that can get around you will. And be your best buddies. Till you need something and then they disappear. Don't be one of those people. I'm here for you whether you got anything or not. Don't matter to me. Yeah, I'm not in that fellowship group. I try not to be. That's right, Jake. Yeah. Whoever you call yourself a friend to, you be a friend of that person regardless of what's going on. Whether they're up or down or in or out, you be right there by their side. That's what a friend is. I reached a point where I cast out money eaters. Yep. I love you too, April. Thank you for being my buddy. Thank you for believing in what I'm doing. I am a services rendered kind of buddy, though. I don't get nothing for free. Yes, you gotta. I know what you're saying. Yes, ma'am. Oh, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Thank you, Sasquatch. I appreciate you, buddy. I'll do my damnedest to be worthy of it. Man, I was on the highway. Have you ever had a yawn that was right there but wouldn't come? So you're driving down the highway with your mouth wide open trying to yawn? For like 25 miles, for like 30 minutes, I could not yawn. I finally just gave up. I still have that feeling in the pit of my gut like I need to yawn, but it just won't come. I'm an old-fashioned primate. If you got that, you know what I mean. Receiving, yes. Then I'll be a free falling. What does that mean? Free falling in what way? I did stretch. I'm still stretching and I can't yawn. It just is right there on the edge. If I could just get a... it just won't come. This might sound like BS. That never, anything that precedes that sentence is never a good thing, but go ahead. Now I'm doing it again. I still can't yawn. But many moons ago, I trained myself not to yawn. Yep, that sounds like bullshit. Keep talking about it. Maybe I'll start yawning. I'm like just not tired enough just yet to yawn. It's just right on the edge. I can feel it, but it won't come out. How do you train yourself not to yawn, Sasquatch? I can train you not to yawn, but I don't know if I can train myself not to yawn. Every time you open your mouth, I stick my finger on your tongue. Beep. That'll stop you from yawning. Dead in the center of a yawn. You'll be like, ah! Damn it. That's all you got to do. My jaw locks if I yawn too much. Oh, there it is. There's a little yawn, but it happened. You watch people yawn and don't yawn. That's just not succumbing to willpower. Power of suggestion. That's why people yawn when other people yawn. It's the power of suggestion. You could actually use that in several different ways. For example, if you're in a waiting room, if somebody comes in that wasn't there to start with, just stand up every minute. Stand up, sit back down. Stand up, sit back down. And watch. 2 or 3 other people will start standing up with you and sitting back down. Just because they think they're supposed to and they missed the reason why. Diego says, ready to read 1st and 2nd Samuel, 2 of my favorite books in Scripture. We're getting there, buddy. We're in Ruth right now, but we'll get to Samuel soon. Yawning is a semi-voluntary response. Yes. Yawning is contagious. It's contagious because it's the power of suggestion. It's not actually contagious. It's just your brain trying to keep up with what everybody else is doing. It is a social cue. It's actually not contagious. It's just like standing in line. People queue up because they see a line. They have no idea why they're in the line. They just queue up if they see one forming. Because people want to go along with the crowd. They don't want to be set apart. They want to be part of the group. There, finally, I got to yawn. A real yawn. What's that mean? Social group? Or semi-voluntary? Semi-involuntary. Semi-involuntary means sort of not your choice. Involuntary means that you have no choice in the matter. It just happens, like a yawn, or like a heartbeat, or like a sneeze. It's involuntary. You didn't volunteer to do it. And a yawn is semi-involuntary, but is not contagious, because there's no contagion that could cause it. So therefore, ergo, it's a social response. You yawn because the person beside you yawned and you don't want to be left out, mentally speaking. One may be induced to yawn seeing another person yawn, only if they're easily swayed by the powers of suggestion. I'm not one of those people. I don't do things just because I see other people doing it, but there are lots of people that do. I also cannot be hypnotized. I'm not a weak-minded person. I'm not going under just because you tell me to. I have authority over me. Not everyone does, though. There are people out there, and there are many of them, that just do whatever the group does. That's how they get by. That's their whole identity is wrapped up in what everyone else is doing. There's some people out there that cannot even function unless they know what their friends are doing, because that's how they live. Hello, Diego. How's your day been? Says April. I call those people non-player characters. They're not real people. They're just there. They're cliquey. You could see them best in high school because they'll segregate themselves into groups. You got the goth people, and you got the loners, and you got the nerdy people, and you got the cheerleaders, and you got the jocks, and you got the bookworms, and the chess club, and you can see them. Well, those people go out into the world, and they're still those kind of people. They're just now out there. They may dress differently because they get older, but they're still those kind of people. And if you look closely, and I've been around lots and lots of crowds, I've spent much of my life in front of a crowd of people at one place or another, and I can tell you that a lot of them still exist in the real world as an adult. They're just groups of people that fit into certain cliques, and they do not fit into other cliques. April says, sheeple? Never mind. Sheeple. People, sheep. Followers. People that don't have any direction of their own. They just follow along. Watch crowds, April. They move like flocks or herds. Yes, they do. And the more of a person is intelligent, articulate, and well thought out, people are stupid, panicky, and quick to decisions. You can make a crowd do anything you want it to do just by simple pressures, social pressures or suggestions. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I bend crowds to my will. I stand before a crowd and make them work themselves into a frenzy until they're screaming and hollering and throwing beer and cheering. At some point, I can make them do anything I want them to do. It's like social hypnotism. But in order to do that, you got to be above that. So you have to understand it. By the way, Jake, this is a passage that many skeptics and non-believers use to portray God as a misogynistic evil being. Why? God ain't the one that raped the girl. God ain't the one that suggested he give the girl to the man. Those were all doings of men. God had nothing to do with it. So how could they say God's misogynistic? Because he told them how to handle it when they came to him and asked? Remember, they came to him and asked. He was not part of that before that. And when they came to him and asked, he told them, go out and fight against Benjamin. Do it 3 days in a row. Social media is social engineering. Yes, it is, to the max. You're literally being trained to accept likes for things that you do. It's a dopamine hit. It's a reward system that's hijacking your own built-in reward system. And it is wicked. Yes, it is. And you should stay away from it. And here we are. We're not social media. This is a private chat open to members only. You have to be subscribed to come to this channel. And I don't reward people with likes and thumbs ups and thumbs downs. I don't encourage judgment. So it's not exactly social media. It is to some degree because it's on a platform, but it's also non-judgmental. Whereas Facebook, you're encouraged to judge your friends by giving them thumbs up or thumbs down or hearts or frowny faces or whatever. taking advantage of the herd behavior in low information people, yes. But we're not teaching or saying anything of wickedness. We are of God. Amen, sister. Well, God's got to be, even in social media, he needs to be present. He should be on every platform. We're just one of the many who teach God's word, but we do it in an academic way. Some pageantry, but not much. We try to stay away from that sort of stuff. For example, I will partake of the Passover and do the things, and I will pray if you ask me to. But other than that, there'll be no wearing of robes and acting silly and chanting and speaking in tongues and all that stuff. No altars, none of those things. This is not religiosity. This is academic understanding of religiosity. Amen, Jake. Yep, I don't believe in church. You know who else didn't believe in church? Christ. For he said, wherever two or more are gathered in my name, there so I shall also be. Period. End of discussion. No building necessary. No clergyman necessary. I am a man of letters, and I am a man of the cloth, but only because I have to be, not because I chose to be. Yep, I'm putting in the effort into some interaction to produce my vision. Jake will help, maybe. What do you mean, maybe? Of course I'll help. Religiosity and the fuzzy wuzzies. Yep. I believe, yay. So I'm excited and proud, Sasquatch. Amen, sister. You be excited and proud. That's what I want you to be. And you keep coming back because you learned something. If you don't learn anything, go find food somewhere else. I only want you here if you're being fed here, metaphorically speaking. Does you no good to be here if you're not getting anything out of it. That goes for everyone. But you should be, because we're reading straight from the Word. So you should be getting something out of it, even if it's just understanding. If it happens to soothe your spirit or give you some closeness to God, then that's even better. But what I'm aiming at is just understanding the words, and why they were written down, and why they've persevered for thousands of years. Because there's no arguing that point. Those words have been here for thousands of years, and there's a reason for it, because I can't write anything down and have it last thousands of years. What kind of work are you doing now, Jake? Well, I make t-shirts 3 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week. But I also do freelance work in the music business and repair work and that sort of thing. Anything I can get my hands on, really. I don't say no to anything. I'll do it all. But mostly, my primary job is teacher. In the school of hard knocks, baby. But sin is impossible once saved, clown face. I know, that's the point he's making, honey. He's making fun of that guy we debated last weekend. If sin was impossible, then God himself would not have said out of his own mouth, I don't want to destroy my children. If it were up to me, all of my children would find their way to repentance. All of them. That's what he wants, for everybody to find their way to repentance. So that was God speaking. And if God says it, it's truth. Everybody's doing it. It's the latest craze. Everybody's doing it. Yep. People are just dying to get into heaven, too. They're the ultimate nightclub. I'm tossing stones in a calm lake. Is that a metaphor of some kind? Is that like preaching to the choir? Or making waves, making ripples? I'm casting pearls before swine. Oh, I got the euphemism. I'm just asking if that's what you meant. Or are you literally tossing rocks into water? Mm-hmm. Say you, say me. Let's say it together, baby. Naturally. Whoop, whoop. There's a redneck mating call. Whoop, whoop. Ooh, ooh. Casting my seed before stony ground. See what grows and see what falls by the wayside. Say it together, baby. Naturally. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, I'm a little hoarse today. Need to drink more water. Had a pretty good voice day Friday night. It's because I was drinking water. I need to do that more often. Seems to help. Caucasian, where'd you go? Love it, don't we all? Need to drink more water? Yeah. Stay hydrated, people. God bless you and stay hydrated. Make life with your penis. Ooh, that's how you do it. That's how you survive this chaotic world in which we live. Make life. I always like the line about the mustard seed. Yes, me too. It's hot indeed, Jake. Lots of water. Yes, sir. Got to have that H2O. It has been among the last 3 days have been among the hottest days of the year. Very hot. Last 5 days, actually. But the most important water is Jesus Christ. Well, he's the living water. He's where life comes from. Without him, water has no value. He is the living that comes from the water. And we all need to drink from that well. As we're doing. And that's okay. Doesn't matter how you get there, long as you get there. And that's a fact, Jack. There's lots of naysayers out there and finger waggers and chin waggers that'll tell you you have to do it this way, or you have to be baptized in this church for anything to make sense or work. And that's just not true. A religion of any kind is one man's opinion, a sliver of the truth preached to his congregation. There's all kinds of religions out there. And to that, Christ said, if they're not against us, then they're for us. So whatever religion you're in, if it's not against Christ, then it's for Christ. Can't have it both ways. What's that guy said to me? You can't serve two masters? That's correct. Who do you serve? Who do you bow your head to? You have to serve somebody. The more I seek, you listen to that song, y'all. The more I seek, I'll check it out. Ready for 1st and 2nd Samuel. So excited. As soon as we get there, I'll give it to you, buddy. The book of Judges was bloody. A little bit. I'll give it a listen, April. I'm also going to learn that Luke Bryan song for you. I just hadn't got to it yet, but it's on my list. It's one you called out a couple weeks ago. I hadn't forgot about it. I'll send you some pictures of my adventures in Mexico. Good deal, because I've got a Ken Burns style collage I'm working on right now of pictures that were sent to me, so I'll add them to it. Just send them to my email address. I know you have it. It was given to you before. But in case you haven't, send them. Come on, Slowpoke. There's my email address. Send it there. April says, looking forward to it, Diego. So you can share them with the group on a chill stream, Jake, whenever you have a chance. I'll be glad to, Diego. You send them on to that email address, and I will send them on. I'll put them in the collage, and everybody will get to enjoy them. I love you too, April, and I'm out. Guys, take care of yourselves and each other. Spend time with those that you love and make sure they know you love them. Even if you have to remind them of it, even if you have to just take a minute and say it. Sometimes you don't say it enough. Sometimes you just take it for granted that they know and forget to actually tell them. But telling them is what's important. Nobody can feel your pride if you never say, I'm proud of you. Nobody can feel your love if you never say, I love you and you mean the world to me. I love you and you mean the world to me. You mean everything. The whole reason I do this is for you. Doesn't matter how many of you there are. Doesn't matter if we grow exponentially over the next year. I still love you. And I'll still do everything I can for you. Spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. Extrapaciously. I've had a good night tonight. Thank you guys for hanging with me and a great conversation to boot. Thanks for the love, Jake. And you have a great evening and an awesome day tomorrow. May God bless us all. And He does. He blesses me every day. I know he blesses you too every day. But don't forget to give him thanks for that blessing, to let him know that you're aware that it's him doing it. That's all you got to do is just say, God, I'm aware that you're the reason that I always have what I need to survive, and thank you for that. I am grateful. That's all you need to say. And you'd be surprised how much that means to our Father. God bless you all, everyone, says Diego, with lots of prayer hands. Prayer hands and hearts and smiley faces. That's the language of the new. Speaking to the man of the old man of letters. It's good to be something. And with you, Diego, says Caucasian. Enjoy that oyster stew, Caucasian, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 8:30 sharp, for some New Testament shenanigans where we will round out and finish the great book of Revelations. Get through that book. And that's the funnest book we read so far, I think. And also the scariest. But never fear, because at the end of all of that, we get to be home. And that's what's important. That's the important message. No matter how scary things get here, there is another thing coming. And that thing is home. That thing is the place where we want to be. So as long as you know that, nothing on this earth will get too scary. Because it's only going to last a minute, and then it'll be over, and you'll be home. And that'll be that. Time has no concept. So as soon as you close your eyes, you'll open them in heaven. So you won't even be aware of the time that passes. Even if you're dead for 1,000 years, you'll never know it. Because to you, your consciousness will awaken moments after you die. And you will be there. And time will have already passed. It's funny to think about, but that's how time works. It's only slow to those who are awake while it's going on. If you're asleep in God, you'll never know that a moment's passed. So, until tomorrow night, I love you with all my heart. God bless you and Godspeed. God be with your families. Take care of yourselves and each other. Enjoy the oyster stew. Have a good time, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Night, night.